Hello, it's me, Barry J. Hutchison, back with another video for this thing that I'm doing. Start that again. Hi, no. Hello, it's Barry J. Hutchison, author of the comedy sci-fi series Space Team, which includes Space Team, Space Team The Wrath of Vajazzle, Space Team The Search for Splurt, and the fourth book, Space Team something something something. I don't actually have a title for the fourth book yet, although I have an idea for one. If you, in fact, by the time this video goes up, I will probably have decided on the title. So if you go to my Facebook page, facebook.com/Barry J Hutchison, I think. I'll put a link in the bit down below. You'll probably be able to see the cover for book 4 and find out what the title is. It is not something 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 or the tricky fourth book, which is what I was also considering calling it. It will be something else by the time you watch this video. So go to Facebook and find out what it is. Today I thought I would talk a bit about how I became an author, how I decided that I wanted to write books. I was around 9 years old, quite a long time ago now. My school, when I went to my primary school, the building was kind of attached to the local library, and I wasn't actually a big reader when I was really young. When I was kind of up until the age of 7 or 8, I didn't really read books. I read lots of comics. The Beano, which is a very popular comic here in the UK, certainly was then, it's still quite popular now, but I used to read that all the time, and comics like that. My teacher didn't like that I read comics. She didn't like comics in general. She hated that I chose comics over books, and she used to kind of make fun of me, not even like in a kind of nice, cheerful kind of way, but in quite an angry way, which wasn't very nice. Anyway, one day we got a new librarian. A new librarian came to the library. Her name was Mrs. McAllister. Her husband was a teacher in the local high school. His nickname was Mad Alfie, despite the fact that his name wasn't actually Alfie. He was mad though, so it was 50% correct at least. But Mrs. McAllister was the new librarian. Very nice, lovely woman. We were all taken to meet her, all introduced to her one at a time, and we all had to stand up and tell her what kind of books we liked to read. And my teacher made me go last, and all the kids stood up and told us, oh, I like action adventure books, and she would direct them to the action adventure section. And say I like funny books, she would direct them to the funny stuff. And then my teacher at the end made me stand up and said, tell Mrs. McAllister what you like to read. And I felt really embarrassed just by the way she'd said it. It was kind of this, I was only 7 or 8 like I said, but I knew she was kind of belittling me and putting me down, and I said I like reading comics, and Mrs. McAllister went, oh. And I felt this kind of this like heat rising, like shame rising inside me, and I thought I'm going to start crying. And I didn't really want to start crying, obviously, because that was going to be embarrassing. But Mrs. McAllister said, "Wait here a minute," and then she went through to the back kind of storage area of the library and came back a minute or so later with this pile of comics. She was like struggling under the weight of these things, trying to carry them, and she dumped them on the floor in front of me, and said, "There you go, read them." And I went back to the library every day for the next 6-7 months, I think, working my way through this massive stack of comics. My teacher wasn't happy at all. She had words with the librarian, and Mrs. McAllister, the librarian, to her eternal credit, had words back. I went there every day and read the comics. And as I worked my way through the comics, Mrs. McAllister would ask me, what kind of stuff I was enjoying, what I liked. So by the time I got to the end, she had a really good idea of what I liked reading about in the comics, and she was able to start directing me to books which she thought I might like as well. So I would say, oh, I really like the stuff about robots, and she would say, I've got this book about robots, and she would give me that. and I would take it away, and I would come back a couple of days later having read it, and I would say, oh, I'd really like a book about aliens, and she would say, okay, I'll find you a book about aliens, and she would come back and give me the book, and I would read it. And I got to the stage when I was going through a book a day, thanks to Mrs. McAllister. And I remember one day getting obsessed with ninjas. I'd seen a programme on TV about ninjas the night before, or a movie or something. And I went to the library next day and said, I want a book about ninjas! And Mrs. McAllister said, I haven't got a book about ninjas. And I felt weirdly crushed, like this magical place I discovered had kind of let me down. And Mrs. McAllister said, but give me a minute. And she went under her counter and she came back out with a notebook and said, write a book about ninjas. And I did. I wrote a book about ninjas, and it was bloody terrible. I was about 9 at the time, I think, 8 going on 9 maybe. Yeah, it was bloody awful, this book. But I'd written it, wrote it all out longhand in a notebook. Did some pictures, and when I was finished, Mrs. McAllister took it, and she wrote my name on the side and wrote the name of the book on the side, and she put it on the bookshelf next to all the proper books. And something just like a light bulb ding appeared above my head, seeing my book on the shelf next to those other books, and I knew then that is what I wanted to do, that writing books was what I wanted to do. And since then I have written over 70 books for children, going on 80 books for children, I think. I write for the Beano, I write the comic, which kind of inspired me in the first place. I write other comics as well. I've written some stuff for the TV, and of course the Space Team series too. And it all started with that library and that librarian and that stack of comics. So that's it. That's kind of what I thought I would talk about today, how I became an author, or how I started on my long journey to becoming an author. I didn't actually get my first book published until I was about 30, I think, which was, 21, 22 years later. So it took a while. But yeah, that's what first inspired the love of writing in me. So I owe it all really to Mrs. McAllister. So yeah, there you go. In case you weren't aware, Space Team Book 3, The Search for Splurt, is currently available to pre-order on Amazon. It is available at $2.99. When it launches, it will be $3.99. So if you pre-order it, you will save a whopping 25% on the price. Yeah, 25%, yeah, more, something like that. You will save money anyway. Saving money is a good thing, so if you want to get it, go along and pre-order it now. Link will be below somewhere in the comments. La 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 la. I don't know why I made that noise there. I don't know why I did that little tune, that was a bit weird. You can also get Space Team The Holiday Special free if you follow the other link below somewhere. And yeah, it's a short holiday special, Christmas themed, kind of Christmas themed, space Christmas themed. Short story featuring Cal Carver and his crew. So yeah, it's free of charge, you can read it. It also features a cameo appearance from Dorothy out of the Golden Girls, which you can't say about many science fiction books that I'm aware of, certainly. So yeah, go and do that, all that stuff that I just said. My monitor's just switched itself off, so I suppose it's time to go and get back to work. Have a good day, thanks for watching. Oh, before I forget, if you're in the UK, my latest children's book, Beaky Malone, Worst Ever School Trip, is available now from all good bookshops. Ding!